So welcome to CivicCentre first. So we are starting this initiative, revise classes for UPSC. So I hope you all have given already the 1 or 2 attempts minimum. Already you have given some attempts. So the purpose or the main objective of this series or this classes was to help you or assist you revise your core concepts. So I will take the history part. So mostly, most of the people feel history is little boring because they'll give the last priority, which subject you like in the UPSC means they will tell. Of course, not the history will not be the first in that list. Maybe polity will come or economy will come. But history in the weightage perspective, history is very, very important. So we'll start the history, and already you have listened the previous orientation sessions, right? So there you got some idea what are the classes and what is the main objective of these classes. And these classes are short, comprehensive, and within a limited number of classes will cover the core concepts. So that is the objective of the class. So this is myself is Satish Kasturi. So I will take the history session. So this is the agenda of our class. So online participants, if you have any doubts or queries, please message here. So we'll address it accordingly. So this is the coming to history, for example, what the things you lack or what are the things you feel difficult? You both can answer parallelly. Facts, remembering facts. So Madam told remembering fact will be the one of the main issue. So remembering facts. And sir, what are the other issues you feel like, for example, for dealing the history? Being the ancient, medieval, or modern, or art and culture. So on
spectrum, we get some questions out of some things like you may be missing in the line spectrum. Like if I read a spectrum also, if I attend any institute test series, I'll be lacking someone. I haven't read this. It was not mentioned. It's comprehensive material. I don't find it.
Comprehensive material, you don't find it. This is not available, right? Any other thing? These are the two major core issues. So online participant, please, you also can message. So what are the things which is making you history difficult to read or to attempt the questions? So the students told one thing is remembering facts, and second, comprehensive material is not available. So these are the two things here. So here, like remembering facts is only will happen through thorough revision. That is the one of the key way. So I think how many attempts you have given? One, like last 20 to 23, 24, 24th attempt. Sir, you 2 attempts, 23, 24. So you have given the gap. tspsc, so it went so much time. Yeah. So yeah. So these are the two. Yeah, very important thing is remembering facts is always problem with the history. UPSC is nothing but most of the facts oriented. People think that's analytical, but it's facts because you have to have some factual knowledge. Then only you can attempt the any kind of analytical question. So remembering facts, especially when it comes to the modern history. Modern history have so many facts. So, and coming to the comprehensive material is not available. So mostly people read NCERTs. So we think that NCERTs will address all the questions. We think that, but most of the time it won't address max questions. If, for example, every year we will get at least 15 questions nearly. Cumulatively, we'll get from the Indian history. So NCERTs, we can only attempt maybe hardly 7 to 8 questions. Or if it's good, then it goes into 10 questions. We can't attempt all the questions. using any one source of material available. But you need all the 15 questions to qualify the prelims? No, right? Simple. You need maybe, even if you attempt 10 questions, it's good enough to qualify the exam. So here in these classes, we will revise the concept. So which makes your core stronger. So the core. So this core is the foundation. This is the foundation. So with this core, you can at least attempt the basic amount of questions, like 8 to 10 questions, because we will revise every important concept based on the PYQ themes. Because you already have given like 1 or 2 attempts, you know how much PYQs are very important in dealing any subject, especially when it comes to the history, because other subjects are more dynamic. But when it comes to the history, it is mostly like it's confined to the static part. I will also tell you how the dynamic we will inculcate in preparing for the history also. But even in we will get the current affairs, but it will come only the static theme. The static themes only we have to revise. Like I added some current affairs, so we will revise that. So here, based on the PYQ themes, we formulated number of topics. Like for example, I will show here. We list out all the topics from every starting from the prehistoric to Indus Valley civilization, the sites or whatever the topics. So we have detailedly we listed out. So based on that, with a comprehensive manner, we will teach the classes. So those classes will be suffice to address the core of the exam, like the core of the questions you can. So if you can see, like, so we list out the number of topics, and we know the syllabus, like how specifically they give when it comes to the particular when it comes to the prelims. At least the mains, they have the proper description of the syllabus, like what we have to read, what we should not read. But when it comes to the prelims, they only give just one line: history of India and Indian national movement. So each and everything connects to the history you have to read. So starting from the Aryans or the Mughals, Sultanates, till British people. So Britishers, like we have to read all the work they have done, or all the rules they have done. So they created a lot of mess also. So we have to, they left only with a lot of history to read. That is the only. So this is the class of agenda today. We'll start with the subject specific. What is the subject and the core approach. So every subject we have 2 things, like static. So the subject specific, that is we are dealing with. The core approach, like every subject have 2 things. One is static and dynamic. So we have to see every subject in this with the lens of static and dynamic, and also the static themes. And we will see how the PYQ is very essential. PYQs is essential even if you are doing the self-study or the classes or whatever the preparation. So the PYQs is must. So without referring to the PYQs, you should not start your at least the revision. So here we will make that revision more stronger within the classes. So we have given each subject like 15 classes or very limited classes. So with that limited classes, you will cover all the core strata. Like, so for example, for some people in the 3 like ancient, medieval, modern, some people like the modern, but they're feeling difficult with the ancient and medieval. Some people, they are very comfortable with the ancient, but they're not that much comfortable with the modern. Or some people don't understand the art and architecture or art and culture. Many people think history is a factual subject, but it is most of that, like geography or the polity, it's a conceptual subject. Very conceptual subject. History is very conceptual subject. For example, if you don't understand the fundamentals of Buddhism or Jainism, for example, you told like you attempted like TGPS, you wrote the mains. In the mains exam, there is one question they have given about the especially. Gandhara is okay. When it comes to the essay, they have given one aniconic
Yes.
art of like Buddha and Buddhism during the Shunga period or something. They have given one question. So that's very like conceptual question. You have, if you know the dynamics of Buddhism, how it spread from ancient to like a transition period of that time, like a pre-Mauryan to after Shungas, even with the minimal little knowledge, you can easily attempt those kind of questions if you have a conceptual clarity. So that conceptual clarity is what we will provide in the class. So syllabus is like history of India and Indian movement. This is how it mentioned. And we'll see the core approach. The core approach contains the static themes, but those themes are, we have taken like already we did some R&D of around 50 years, last 45 years of questions, and we list out at the topics and what are the topics which carries the most of the weight per history or all the subjects. So when it comes to the static, what is the mostly history means like the empires, movements, and philosophies, these kind of things we all get. And dynamic themes is current history. We have like a like small set that history have very less current affairs compared to other subjects. Like, but when we see the trend, like we'll discuss it in the future slide, they are touching even the current affairs and they're giving the static with related to the current affairs portion. So we should not neglect the current affairs part when it comes to the history. So that is one important thing. So here I have seen like you all have, like all the students have one fundamental question: why we are stressing so much on PYQs for teaching or listing out the topics. Like we see, I have taken, there are number of examples. Like I have taken one example to show you clearly. Please listen attentively. So this question is a mains question. So this mains question, though not very useful from the point of view of a connected political history of South India, the Sangam literature portrays the social and economic conditions of its time with remarkable vividness. Comment. This question, it is appeared in the 2013 mains examination. So this is about the Sangam literature. So it is telling that, so even that political history of Sangam literature is not that much important, but it have the social and economic conditions which we have to notice and we have to use. So this is the 2014 question, and you can see this question is a 2022 question. So this question, it is in 2022. And this question is in the prelims question, like which one of the following statements about the Sangam literature in ancient South India is correct? Here, the Sangam poems are devoid of any reference of material culture. The social classification of Varna was known to Sangam poets. Sangam poems have no reference to warrior ethic. Sangam literature refers to the magical forces are irrational. So here it is asking, which one of the following statements is correct? The answer is the social classification of Varna was known to Sangam literature. Because if you just go through, you no need to answer this question also. If you just went through the reference of these previous questions, just the questions, you can easily answer this question. Because here it emphasizes that political history is not, you have to notice that much, but they have the strong social and economic conditions. If they have strong social and economic conditions, it means the social classification of Varna is very much known to Sangam poets. So this is the importance or the legacy these PYQs carry in answering the questions or reading the any subject or any concept. So that's how I found, yeah, that is one of the example. There are number of questions like this. If you go on through, especially in the history part, if you go on through, you will get connected with the and repetitive themes. Like for example, if you come to the pre-IVC cultures, those are not that much, it doesn't carry that much weightage. But when it comes to the IVC, you will get the repetitive questions. IVC, even in the mains or in the prelims, you will get the repetitive question. Vedic and Buddhism, Jainism, it's very hard to find a paper without at least one question from Buddhism and Jainism. So they're kind of there are so many examples like this, and you no need to read everything, especially for in the last moment. You can confine it to some particular the core syllabus which is established their relevance with the PYQs, and if you finish those kind of reading or those kind of classes, so then you can easily attempt your core will be stronger. If your core will be stronger, you can solve any question papers of history. At least you will get like at least the 60% marks. If your core is stronger, you can comprehend, or you with the analysis you can attempt the questions. So when it comes to the static, this medial model. So we'll talk about the ancient history first. So what are the important topics? So for example, to read the history, there is one kind of template. You all know what is meant by a template or stencil, right? So what are the important factors for reading history? Like what are the dynamics? So what kind of the dynamics? First, what kind of dynamic we have to go through when you are reading the history? So this stencil will apply to all the things, prelims, even for mains. So what kind of the dynamics? Even online participants, please answer. So what are the dynamics here? You will get some basic dimensions or dynamics you will get, right? When you are reading the history, it's political, social, economical, cultural, art and architecture. So we'll list out, like, for example, I made one acronym like that. So this I created for myself when I'm like during my preparation, I created whenever I'm reading history. So I have to address these kind of things. So P, it were polity and governance. So Lakshmikant will always come in history, like polity and governance, being it ancient history, medieval history, modern history. So you have to go on through. So when you see even the modern history questions, the most of the questions will come from the British policies or their policies which are going like 1935 Act, 1919, these kind of things. So polity and governance is very important aspect. So next one is organizations. O for or organizations like any kind of guilds in the ancient history or any social organizations. So when you are reading, you must observe these kind of things. And W for status of women. So why it is important, status of women? Actually, the dynamics of women's status in the society impacted history a lot. Even when we take it like a Vedic to later Vedic. So the woman dynamics here, the woman position in Vedic is very stronger. So why it is very stronger? Possible reasons. So that's what UPSC want. Analyst, everyone knows fact. Facts everyone knows. Like everyone knows, like Vedic woman status is very strong. But why? That is very important. Huh? So that's why it got egalitarian society. The women's status is strong means the society is egalitarian, obviously. It's like inference. kind of. Yeah. So what, because that time the pastoralism, most of the people depends on the cat
Yeah.
cattle. So there the need of women is more. Female presence is much required in the economy. So they have less chance to show the discrimination or inequality between here. But here, this pastoralism changed into agriculture. So iron came, so agriculture strengthened, surplus increased, surplus of the food increased. So need of the women or decreased. The need of women labor got decreased. So the status of women also very much linked with the trade and commerce or economy. Yeah. So here, this is one of the reasons why women's status is decreased. So the status of women is very important. So that's why I added that women should be there. And next, E for economy. From IBC to like a medieval like sultanates or Mughals or we all know why the Europeans came into India. They all came for economy only, for trade only they came. You all know like until the Portuguese came into India, we don't have a crop called chili. We only used to spice our foods with what? Until like it's a South American crop, I think. The chili, the green chili, which we are using in everyday our curries and all. It's a South American crop. So when Portuguese came to Goa, they brought so many crops: potato, tomato, so many crops they brought. Indigo, yeah, indigo also maybe. But before that, we used to spice our foods with pepper, garlic powder, these kind of things they used to use to spice up. So economy is also very important when you are reading the history. So power, organizations, status of women, R. R is for very important. Throughout the history, both ancient, medieval, modern, without R, you will have very good connection. R is for religious conditions. It's very easy, right? So religious conditions. So these things are very, very important. So A is for, as you said, art and architecture. Yeah. Quality, governance. So whenever you read history, you at least you have to you no need to have all the dimensions, but at least these kind of dimensions you have to read, because political history you will not get most of the questions. So when it comes to the ancient history, IBC, most of the people will ask about the trade comparisons. So we see the drainage system which we have now is also we have in the IBC, and the great bath they have. So which is replicated in the temple ponds. We have in the temple ponds, and the status, like even in the IBC, the social stratification is there. Like The people who are in the higher status, they used to live in the elevated cities, citadels, and normal people, basic, usually stay in. That is same here. So those kind, you have to read the history in those kind of aspect. So very analytically with the conceptual clarity. It's the same with the same, like only the time period will change. Medieval have the same things. But when it comes to the modern, so the emphasis was more on the governance policies, economy, and the freedom movement. These three things usually dominate the modern history. And also fourth one will be the socio-religious movements, this Brahma Samaj, Arya Samaj. Yeah, these kind of four things will dominate. Like for example, here you see the medieval Indian history. The medieval Indian history, so here there is one slide, it is missing about the ancient history. But the ancient history, the important topics if we discuss, the first one always be IVC, and the second one Vedic age, and the third Mahajanapadas, but it doesn't have that much weightage. Directly it comes to the through Mahajanapadas is like a bridge between the Vedic age to Jainism, Buddhism, or the socio-cultural aspects of the 6th century around, like those are the major developments of the 6th century BC. Religious conditions in the 6th century. So the Buddhism and Jainism. And next comes the, madam? Yeah, those are all integrated of the like the later Vedic age. Vedic age, when the later Vedic age came, the social stratification was mostly happened through the caste system. Based on that, so many things happened, and this is one of the reason. Like when we talk about the Buddhism and Jainism, so the core, what is the important or the background? So why the Buddhism and Jainism comes? Like when we talk about the Buddhism and Jainism, what is the first reason? Because of that caste ladder. The caste ladder, the 4 stratifications are there, like the Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras. So these 4, and there are why there are multiple angles. Even the angle which we have talked before about the iron also played important part in Buddhism and Jainism. Can you can you link how that iron played a important part in the Buddhism and Jainism? Just you can vaguely connect. That's how we have to develop the analytical skill. Like the concept we can have. Like I have given the hint. Like the Buddhism and Jainism is developed, and also the iron also played important place. Yeah.
Develop. Simultaneously, the financial status of people
Develop.
Buddhism, Brahmanism has banned Udasa and Kudisi, like money lending activities to the people, but Buddhism and Buddhism has encouraged Vaishyas to come into trade. Yeah,
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, that is very valid, and that's actually right. One of the right part. So these Vaishyas also played very important role because iron developed. After iron, agriculture improved. So if the agriculture is improved, means surplus, like the new cities, the villages will transfer into towns, towns will into cities. So when cities got developed, trade and commerce will increase. If trade and commerce increases, so who will prosper among the 4? Obviously, the Vaishyas. Even they are in the third. status, and they have the more financial resources. They have more financial resources compared to other three. So they will think that even we have more financial resources, why we have to be in the third strata? So what they did, they supported the Buddhism and Jainism, because that's the alternative religions. And also, as sir told, that they also stopped the lending, because Vaishyas that time they used to lend money. So, and also this Buddhism and Jainism, there is one important aspect also. They both promote the non-violence. Non-violence means no war. No wars means more trade and commerce. And more trade and commerce, who will get more means resources, or the prosperity is Vaishyas. So they strongly supported. And Kshatriyas, they supported, because being in the second and they are the ruling power, so they're not getting the equal status with the Brahmins. So the Kshatriyas, what they think that like even we are second, so still we are not. And also this Mahavira and both Buddha, they all belongs to the royal clan. So they think it's their brothers. So those kind of bonding and those kind of support also natural. It's a natural support. So they also give them natural support. And Shudras, they have the multiple reasons, many reasons to support, as you told, like killing of the sacrificing of the cattle, they don't like. So it is affecting their livelihood, expensive rituals. And they're also promoting the simple ascetic kind of life. So you no need to get some kind of moksha or something. You no need to go through these kind of stuff. And obviously Shudras, they don't get moksha as per the Rigveda, because they are not the Dvijas. Only according to the Vedas, only the people who are Dvijas, they will attain the moksha. So that's what our ancient history teaches. Like, so automatically, the way whenever people, or even in the world, like wherever the part people, whenever the people feel they are discriminated, they are feeling they are losing their self-respect, obviously they will always turn into other alternatives, being in the religion or the country or the religion, the means a party, political party, so whatever. So egalitarian equality is very important in a society. Otherwise, people will not take it easy. So that even for the Buddhism and Jainism, or even the small political parties, so it applies the same formulas. So after like Buddhism and Jainism, what is the next important after Buddhism and Jainism? Next important topic is first Mauryas will come, because here very important, like the Mauryas, the Ashoka is the up to now even the Mughals didn't rule that much vast territory like when Ashoka ruled. Ashoka until even Afghanistan, Pakistan, even Britishers also didn't rule that much, like like that much territory. Like Mauryans are very important for their political and administration. That is one of the important aspect, and also the religious thing, and also the art and architecture. Yeah. So and also social stratification. In that one we missed one aspect, right? I forgot. Yes, that is as per social stratification. Yeah. So next, these Mauryans are very important for their architecture and their stone pillars, and especially when it comes to the Ashoka, his Ashokan pillars. So this is very important topic, because you can connect everything with Mauryas. And next it comes to the Guptas. Until like Mauryas, like they used to worship Buddha in a non-idol form, just in symbols, being his footsteps, like the two, like even in the Hindu temples we'll find, right, two footsteps, like these two footsteps, and also some kind of like footsteps, and kind of bodhi. So these all signifies him without in a idle form. So, but when it comes to the after Mauryas, when the Shungas came, and especially the Indo-Greeks, when they came, or the Alexander, the Greek architecture came into India. So these Greek architecture started to represent Buddha in an idol form. So that's how the Buddhist idol worship came into existence through Gandhara, especially the Gandhara art. Until that, they didn't used to worship Buddha in an idol form. That is the question in the TGPSC Group 1 mains for 50 marks question. So that's aniconic worship of Buddha. So yeah, after Guptas, what is the important thing? So and yeah, these are the basic thing. After Guptas, there are like the pre-medieval things are there, but at the same time, that Sufi is no Sufi. So, Gandhara and Madras schools are there, and the what Rashtrakuta is also important, but Sangam age. This Tamil Sangam culture is very important. So because at the time that whole South India, that is the prominent culture which is there. So with studying the Sangam culture means you all know, like there are some stories like Manimekalai and also Silappadikaram. Those are very beautiful stories. You can like with that stories you can see how the social is there, even the religious beliefs, how you will we can see all those things in those kind of things. So these are the important things. Like coming to these static themes, we see usually like this is medieval, like Delhi Sultanate and Mughals. These are the two important. And coming to the South Indian dynasties is Vijayanagara. Alternative to these are the things. Satavahanas and Kakatiyas, when it comes to the regional history, it has much importance. But when it comes to the Indian history, this is not, and that is also important, but very, very rarely they have touched, because they are mostly confined to the regional, especially through the Andhra. But Kakatiyas was like mostly confined to the Andhras, and the Satavahanas were mostly confined to Deccan. They are the bridge. Like the Satavahanas, they made the bridge. Why that Satavahana dynasty is important? Because they are the ones who brought the North Indian cultures into the South India. So they acted as a bridge. But rarely UPSC asks the questions on those things. But these are the things. If you cover, you can at least like minimum, like in 15 questions, you have at least 5 to 6 questions easily. You can if you thoroughly, you can read the concept. And if you revise, you can increase the chances of correcting, means you can increase the chances. So on these movements like Bhakti, this is medieval, it will come, right? Bhakti and Sufi movements, art and architecture. The art and architecture, especially the temple architecture, you must read the temple architecture. What are the basics? Even if you go into any temple, like for example, if you went to this Birla Mandir temple, you will see the art and architecture there. Outside, you will see the Gopuram in a Dravidian style. But if you go into the main sanctum sanctorum, we call that main, that Shikara was in the Vesara style. So whenever you go to the temple, you can observe like what is the differences between what is kind of a Dravida architecture. If you go to the Swarnagiri, if you go, there is one temple, Swarnagiri, like mostly Dravida temples, they have the Dwarapalas. But when you come to the Nagara style or Vesara style, Dwarapalas may be in the Vesara style. Nagara style, they don't have the Dwarapalas and Mandapas. When we enter into the Dravida temple, they will have large Mandapas, like the dancing hall we call, but it was very small in Nagara architecture. So those kind of differences we can discuss. So when it comes to the modern history, so the key areas are like starts with their arrival of the Europeans. Obviously, that is very important thing. But the history, the transition period, like the before Christ, after Christ, like the modern history was like before 1857, after 1857, because after the revolt, many things had changed. And the socio-religious reforms, starting from the Brahma Samaj and the Gandhian era and the constitutional milestones. like all the 1935 Act, whatever the act or the Ilbert Bill. Like for example, we know Republic Day is coming, right? So what is the basics of the Republic Day? Why we are celebrating on the? Many people don't know. At least maybe UPSC people will have some idea why we are celebrating on January 26th only. Can you guess? Huh?
Enactment of the Constitution.
Why only celebrating it on January? Because November 26th, it already finished. Yeah. But the official Purna Swaraj declaration was happened January 26th. Lahore session of Congress, 1929 Lahore session of the Congress. Because of that, so that is the moment that India strongly decided that we have to independ, like completely independence, not like a dominion status. Because previously they they assured that we will give the dominion status, but the people, the general public in the England, they are not happy of giving India a dominion status. So they slowly they made it into like a slow death. They used to ask, like whenever Gandhi or someone they ask whenever when you are giving the dominion status, they used to tell it will take some time. It will take some time. So they strongly decided now it won't work like this. So we want a complete independence. So in the Lahore session, they made a declaration that India needs a complete independence. So that happened on the January 26th. So to remember that, so India also, because that is the moment we decided to completely independent. The completely independent means we have our own constitution. We are the republic, like that. So they officially officiated that January 26th is the Republic Day. So these are the things. And when we come to the dynamic things, especially the history has very small scope for the dynamic things. But recently that scope, like for example, this is a 2022 question. So most of the dynamic themes what we cover, the UNESCO heritage sites, art, culture, like festivals, like any anniversaries. Like you see, this is a 2022 question. That time we all know that there is the statue of Ramanuja in Shamshabad. Like the PM Modi, he came, he inaugurated that statue. So that day, so that year, they have given the question on that. So the question, the world's second tallest statue in sitting pose of Ramanuja was inaugurated by the Prime Minister of India at Hyderabad recently. Which one of the following statements correctly represent the teachings of Ramanuja? The best mean, actually the question is starting from here. Which one of the this is all they established the relevance with the, it is just like a current affairs. So this is the difference between history dynamic part to the other, because they will only ask the static part only, but with the relevance to the current event they will ask the static part. But when we come to the polity or economy or environment, because whenever the new policy or the new act came, you have to study that, but here you have to revise that. That is the basic difference between the dynamic part of history and to the, because it means it have the more prominence. If it is in the news, means that year they inaugurated, he inaugurated, and the question also came that year around the Ramanuja. The best means of salvation is devotion. Vedas are eternal, self-existent, and wholly adorative. Logical arguments are essential means of the highest bliss. Salvation was the, he told like Vedas are eternal. He wrote so many books with the Vedanta. Some the prefix will be the Veda. So Vedasara. So many books he have written with the Vedas, and he told like he promoted one philosophy, Visishtadvaita. Shankaracharya is Advaita. He told like Paramatma and Jivatma both are same. When Jivatma realizes it is a Paramatma, it will attain its salvation. But he told like Paramatma and Jivatma both are different. It's like a body and soul. So those kind of philosophies, maybe it will be slightly tingy, means you can't easily comprehend. Yeah. So the questions will come, these current affairs questions in the sense, they will ask like this. They mention the current events and they will ask the questions. And we'll see a simple, like this is the recent, I noticed which is the current affairs. like very recent current affairs. It's in the November 24, 2027, like 2024. Like in the 116th episode of Man Ki Baat, featured the Lodhal's unique contribution of India's maritime history. Lodhal is coming up as a National Maritime Heritage Complex, a project. So they are promoting the Lodhal Maritime Complex. They are going to start constructing the Lodhal Maritime. So what is the, maybe question may come on Lodhal. So what is the Lodhal significance when it comes to the ancient history or Indian history part? So what is the Lodhal significance? Mm. Mm.
Okay.
So the Lodhal is a dockyard. Dockyard means?
Exporting.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah, it's like a recent, like even the Vizag we have the Hindustan shipping like dockyard, shipyard is there. Similar kind of where you can station the ships and you can export or import goods. Like they used to here in this reference we can think what is the exports, what are the imports of IVC at the time. So at least what is the where the Lodhal is located right now. The Lodhal was around. Here, I think it was located. It's called the Gulf of Gulf of Gulf of Kambat. So also one river which drains here. Very very important river, and it is very closely associated with the Gandhiji's ashram. Sabarmati River. So it will drains here in the Gulf of Kambat. So here the naval dockyard used to be there in the Lodhal's dockyard. So they are constructing the National Maritime Complex here. So this is announced by PM Modi in his Man Ki Baat session. So maybe question may come. So we have to deal the, so we are not learning anything new when it comes to the history part of current affairs. We are just revising, rereading the concepts. So we are also calculating carefully, we are collecting all the things, all the themes. So which we have to stress along with the PYQ. So also the current affairs. So we'll mix both, like the PYQs in the classes, PYQ analysis with the current affairs, and the themes will be the comprehensive. So, and also we'll see the one more question. This is very recent question. Maybe you have seen. Tamil Nadu CM announces like 1 million prize for deciphering the Indus Valley script. So here, when these current affairs comes, why we have to think why it is difficult in deciphering the Indus Valley script. So why? So why it's hard to decipher? Just you can tell me. Hmm. No. Even like there are so many so many scripts or the so many languages even today they are written from left to right or right to left. Yeah. Yeah, that is the one reason. And also like the contemporaries, what are the contemporary civilizations of the IBC of Mesopotamia, Egyptian? Those scripts are very easily deciphered already. But the Indus script was not unable to decipher. One of the main reasons, for example, the Egyptian kind of they have the hieroglyphs. You will see in the movies, you will see the symbols kind of similar like of IBC, but they got the one stone called the Rosetta Stone. So the Rosetta Stone, what it contain like the paragraphs, so big script, the paragraphs, which also written in the some another language of Persian. So this is the Egyptian script. And this is the some Persian script, which is like not very ancient, modern script. So with these kind of stone, after this stone is they found, so they easily like they understood the meaning, like each word contains here. So the translation became easy. Like for example, one same like Indus script, which is written in Telugu, for example. we can easily comprehend. So similarly, they found some another translation stone. So easily they deciphered the Egyptian script. Like so, when it comes to the IBC, we doesn't have those kind of like the big paragraphs. Maximum 4 to 5 letters. 4 to 5 letters, not more than that. So whenever we see in the images are like the 4 or 5 symbols, we will see not more than that. So that became one issue, and the major issue was there is no connection, because there is no connection with the to the present. Like there is the descendants, like the people who are using the same language or same thing are not present right now. So that is also the one of the reason why it is unable. The main thing is this one. The letters are very short and there is no connection to the future generations. And they don't have any kind of this multilingual script. So these Rosetta Stone became like, it became the very popular in the world because that is one of the ancient script they deciphered it. So that's why, but they have their own like kind of a self-interest. So he's like, why no other CM is offering that much money? Only he is offering. He has some self-interest. He thinks that Indus script have connections to the Sangam age, Sangam script. So if that connection got established, yeah, they think that Tamil culture is the ancient or even ancient before to the Aryans. So they will establish their legacy. So because these days everyone have the money, but establishing the legacy is like like kind of a power projection or some kind of thing. So they feel more proud. Already you will see how, if you have a Tamil friends, they think that our Tamil culture is there from so long. Everyone will tell whenever you talk with the Tamil person. So he has that kind of interest. So that's why he announced the 1 million. Yeah. So maybe this kind of question, it will not come, but the question will come why it is hard to decipher the Indus script. So these kind of dynamic themes which connects to the history. So with these, with these PYQ based themes, so you will cover the core of the subject. For example, core of the history, main concepts will be covered in the class. Including the both, like the ancient, medieval, modern. So these both will be covered. So with this, you can answer like at least like for example, you have written 2 times, right? You have written one. Recently, they started giving very less scope for modern history, but previously the weightage is more for the modern history. Yeah. Modern history have so much connection with the present, so they used to give more weightage. As we know that UPSC is very unpredictable, so maybe people used to give more importance to the modern history because they think that whoever thinks that ancient history is boring, so they used to give weightage to the modern history more. So they think that if I cover the modern history, so at least I can answer the half of the questions. But it's not like that. Whenever you approach any subject of the UPSC, you have to cover it holistically. You should not read any selective reading, but the selectivity should be gone through this PYQ based themes. Even if you want to read that selectively, so this topic is important, this topic is important. So you have to see that PYQ based. So how many times this PYQ, because the PYQs establish the relevance or the importance of the subject. So like this. So with these PYQ based themes, you can cover the at least 70 to 80% questions with any kind of exam, being it the GS, Telangana groups, or like the UPSC groups, UPSC, or any kind of exam you can, or any kind of test series also you can, you can cover. So next, Topics like the freedom struggle strategy. Yeah, this is our main strategy. That is our, because we have very short number of classes, and the short number of classes should be with the high efficiency, and that high efficiency should be established through some kind of a formula. Here we have chosen is PYQ based and the current affairs based, because as it is the history, so I'm stressing less on the current affairs. But for other subjects, these both are important, right? So that is the core of the orientation. Yeah. Yeah. You have to focus on themes, not memorization. If you understand the concept, what is the Buddhism, what is Jainism, their basics, like what is the reason? So for example, we discussed like what are the reasons for Buddhism and Jainism to emerge. If you study the concepts like this, it's easy for you, no need to memorize why Buddhism emerged in the 6th century, what are the factors of emergence of Buddhism. So if you just discuss and if you understand, like we can do that in the class. So yeah, and use PYQs to prioritize. Yeah, that things obviously we have to establish through PYQs, and along with the PYQs, we have to touch the dynamic part also. Like for example, how current affairs. Like when we are reading for example, we are reading the IBC, so we have to go on through those kind of current affairs also, because those are the priority areas. Questions may arise because it happened previously, because there are so many incidents why it happened previously. That is one of the incident why the Ramanuja, that day another question also came that year, because that year Somanath also one more question also came, like PM inaugurated went to some Somanath temple or something. That Somanath temple was mentioned in the Al-Biruni or something, some connected to some history. They also have given the question. So when we are going through, so considering the dynamic themes also important, even though it's a history subject. So yeah, I think these are the classes, revised classes, and it's going to start soon. And if you have any doubts, any clarification, just let us know. But I hope you all understand the core of the classes, core theme, like what we are teaching or what we are dealing, how we are dealing, and all the things. Yeah, please message. Yeah.